What happens when you take two people, right, and they're born on the exact same day, exactly 1 year apart, and you merge their astrological blueprints?
You definitely don't get a random collision of chance.
No, you really don't.
Yeah.
You don't just get serendipity. I mean, you get a mathematically staggering, highly engineered connection.
Yeah, highly engineered is the perfect way to put it.
It's like discovering that a bridge built from two entirely different continents was designed with the exact same blueprints to meet flawlessly in the middle.
Right, and it completely reframes how we look at romance because we're so used to, the poetic idea of love.
Like an unpredictable, invisible spark. Right?
Exactly. But when you look at the raw data in a case like this, I mean, it is the absolute definition of a calculated celestial architecture.
Which is just wild to think about.
Yeah.
Welcome to this deep dive, everyone. Today, we have a highly specific, totally customized mission.
We really do.
Holly, this deep dive is entirely for you. We are taking a magnifying glass to a really fascinating audio synastry report from an astrologer known as the Peace Dealer.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he ran the numbers, looked at the charts, and analyzed the deeply intertwined astrological connection between you, Holly, and your partner.
And what immediately jumps out of the source material is that this is nowhere near your standard, run-of-the-mill compatibility reading.
Right, like, will we enjoy the same movies?
Yeah, the astrologer isn't looking at that at all. He frames this relationship mathematically as a twin flame connection.
Which is heavy stuff. And that brings us to the core mathematical anomaly of this whole thing. Holly, you and your partner share the exact same birthday.
April 17th.
April 17th, yeah.
Yeah.
But you were born exactly 1 year apart. He arrived in the year 2000, and you in 2001.
Which is just the odds of that alone.
Right. When you start running the astrological data on that kind of temporal alignment, the mechanics are wild. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We've got a chart that is perfectly aligned, precise down to the degree, yet promises a wonderfully chaotic, highly evolved relationship. So where do we even begin to break down a blueprint that carries this much weight?
Well, we have to start at the bedrock foundation, which the source describes as your shared incarnation plane.
Incarnation plane.
Yeah. Before we can look at how you, Holly, and your partner interact when you're deciding what to have for dinner, we have to understand the foundational karma you both arrived with.
Which makes sense.
And that begins with the sun. Both of you share an Aries sun.
Right. And in astrological mechanics, the sun is the core identity. It's the engine of the car.
Exactly.
You have two people driven by that identical, fiery, pioneering, headfirst Aries energy.
Precisely. But the astrologer points to something even more structural in your composite chart.
And the composite chart, just as a quick reminder, is the chart created when you mathematically merge your two individual charts together to see the relationship as its own entity, right?
Yes, exactly. In that shared chart, your composite moon meets at Pluto.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, the moon represents the emotional core, the soul's baseline instinct. And Pluto...
Pluto is the planet of the underworld, of complete transformation.
Right.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Because, I mean, transformation in underworld sounds great on a deep dive, but in a living room, that sounds super intense.
It's incredibly intense. It means that the polite, superficial layers of a relationship, they just simply don't exist for you two.
Like small talk is just gone.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
When your shared emotional core meets Pluto, it acts like a psychological detective. If a standard couple argues, it might be about, someone forgetting to take out the trash.
Right.
If you two argue, Pluto forces the conversation directly into deep-rooted childhood fears of abandonment or worthiness.
Oh, man, so it strips away all the small talk completely.
It really does.
Yeah.
It indicates a deep soul connection that is incredibly potent, almost magical, but it absolutely requires total raw vulnerability. You cannot hide your shadow selves from each other.
The astrologer uses a brilliant analogy to explain how you two arrived at this intense baseline. He talks about a connecting flight.
Oh, I loved that part.
Yeah. The source notes that the both of you have Saturn in Taurus and your North Node in Cancer. He actually calls people with this specific planetary signature the builders of the new Earth.
Which is an enormous title to carry.
Huge.
Mechanically, Saturn represents the material plane, so how we build structures, our discipline, our physical karma.
Right, right.
And the North Node points to the soul's ultimate destiny in this lifetime.
Because of your birth dates, you both share the exact same karmic structure and the exact same ultimate destiny. You're both geared toward building something tangible that nurtures people, which is that Taurus and Cancer energy.
Exactly.
But here's the mechanism that blew my mind. Because of that 1-year age gap, your partner incarnated first. He arrived in April 2000. It's like he was an advanced scout, dropping into the territory, securing the landing zone, getting the atmospheric pressure right. And then, Holly, you took the connecting flight and arrived a year later.
What's fascinating here is how this shared generational timing actively amplifies the mirror aspect of your connection.
I see.
Well, because you arrived on the same incarnation plane just 12 months apart, your slow-moving outer planets, so Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, they're practically identical.
And those outer planets, they dictate generational shifts, cultural movements, kind of like the underlying vibe of an era.
Exactly. It completely removes the cultural friction that most couples have to spend years navigating.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, think about how much energy couples expend just trying to explain the nostalgic weight of a certain childhood movie or the specific flavor of generational anxiety they grew up with.
Right, trying to translate their childhood to the other person.
Yeah, but for you two, the cultural white noise of your upbringing is identical. You aren't wasting bandwidth translating your generational perspective to him, and he isn't translating his to you.
Because you speak the exact same underlying language.
We really do.
So, because that heavy background noise is completely synced up, you can hear each other's individual frequencies perfectly. I mean, the astrologer literally calls him the male reflection of you, and you, the female reflection of him.
Which is huge.
It is, which means you get to skip the standard translation phase of a relationship and focus entirely on this shared spiritual evolution.
Yes, the foundation is completely synchronized. But if the foundation is identical, how do you avoid just blending into one uniform blob?
Right, you don't want to just be the exact same person.
Exactly. That's where the mechanics of your individual charts, your unique operating systems come into play to create necessary friction.
So if the shared foundation is intense and karmically linked, the emotional processing centers, which are your moon signs, they're totally split.
Very split.
His moon is in Libra. Holly, your moon is in Aquarius.
And this distinction is the engine of your daily dynamic. Let's look at your specific chart first, Holly. The source material is incredibly enthusiastic about your setup.
Oh, it really is.
The astrologer describes your chart as an alien vessel Lord Moon on Uranus with rulership.
I love that phrasing so much. Alien vessel Lord Moon. It sounds like you're commanding a ship in a sci-fi epic.
It really does.
But what is the actual mechanism behind that? Like, how does that play out when you wake up on a Wednesday?
Well, Uranus is the planet of rebellion, sudden insights, and shattering the status quo. Having your moon, your emotional center intertwined with Uranus and Aquarius makes you what the astrologer calls a claircognizant genius.
Claircognizant.
Yeah, claircognizance means clear knowing. It means you don't arrive at conclusions by slowly working through a logical spreadsheet. You get sudden massive downloads of higher knowledge. You're a pure visionary. But it also gives you this chaotic trickster energy. Because your mind operates in the future, you don't really care if your visionary ideas sound crazy or completely ungrounded to everyone else in the present.
You're just living on a different timeline.
Basically, you are essentially the CEO of ideas in this relationship.
Okay, so if Holly is the eccentric, visionary CEO operating on pure, unstructured intuition, how does her partner actually handle that? Because, I mean, that sounds exhausting for a partner who isn't equipped for it.
But he is perfectly equipped for it, and it comes down to his ascendant. He is a Libra rising. And this is a massive piece of the puzzle. In astrology, your rising sign dictates the entire layout of your chart because he approaches the world through a Libra lens, which is all about harmony, balance, and diplomacy. The sign directly across from that, Aries, rules his 7th house.
And the 7th house is the sector of long-term partnerships and marriage.
Exactly.
And since Holly is an Aries sun, well, that's not a coincidence.
Not at all. You naturally fall perfectly into his 7th house. The astrologer literally calls you his original partner.
Wow.
His chart is an empty slot specifically shaped for an Aries sun. You are exactly the voltage his chart requires to feel complete.
That's amazing.
Because his core emotional operating system is Libra, he represents logic, fairness, and social grace. If you are the wild, visionary CEO coming up with ideas that sound insane, he is the ultimate, socially adept PR agent who knows exactly how to package your ideas so the world can digest them.
That dynamic is so clear. But the way your emotional centers interact goes even deeper with these house overlays.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, his Libra moon falls directly into your 4th house.
Yes.
And the 4th house is all about the home, the subconscious, or deepest roots. So how does that feel for Holly? It means that just the pure essence of his diplomatic personality brings you this profound subconscious comfort. His presence acts as a grounding anchor for your chaotic Uranus energy.
Right, he is your safe harbor.
Exactly.
Conversely, Holly, your Aquarius moon falls into his 5th house. The 5th house governs romance, play, and creativity. So how does your alien mind affect him?
Oh, I bet it shakes things up.
It really does. His Libra nature wants everything peaceful and balanced, which can sometimes get stagnant. Your unpredictable, highly advanced emotional nature shatters that stagnation.
It wakes him up.
It constantly stimulates his creativity. The astrologer notes that for him, this creates a deeply sapiosexual dynamic. He is intensely turned on by your mind, by the unconventional knowledge and weirdness you bring to the table.
Which perfectly sets up a phrase the astrologer used that I really want to dig into. He talks about this dynamic creating a literal cosmic telepathy between the two of you.
Yes, the cosmic telepathy.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting because I have to push back a little here. Is cosmic telepathy just a fancy, spiritualized way of saying that you two have dated long enough that you know his coffee order or that you can finish each other's sentences? Because, I mean, any couple of 5 years can do that.
Yeah.
Is there a deeper actual mechanic at play here?
It's a completely fair question, and the astrologer explicitly clarifies this. We are not talking about anticipating a coffee order.
Good to know.
Regular telepathy, as we conceive it, might be reading someone's real-time thoughts.
Yeah.
But cosmic telepathy in this chart is an advanced celestial-grade dynamic based on your specific planetary elevations.
Okay, so it's structural.
Yes, it happens because, mathematically, your chart holds the higher spiritual knowledge, what the astrologer calls the 3rd floor.
Okay, so Holly's operating on the 3rd floor of this building.
Yes, and her partner is operating on the 2nd floor, which is the realm of social application, logic, and balance.
Got it.
Because you, Holly, have access to that Uranus-driven higher insight, you don't just read his present thoughts. The mechanism is precognitive.
Precognitive, like before he even thinks it.
Exactly. You literally say things out loud that he didn't even realize he was conceptually forming yet. You pull the raw, chaotic data down from the 3rd floor, and he catches it on the 2nd floor, using his Libra nature to socialize it, to bring it into the real world. It is a perfect continuous feedback loop.
That is mind-bending. You provide the raw, futuristic code, and he formats it for human consumption.
That's exactly it.
But listen, with all this telepathic mind melding and high-frequency energy, you can't have a relationship this powerful without some serious friction. And the report makes it very clear this connection creates intense friction.
Oh, absolutely.
But it argues that this friction isn't a bug in the system, it's the primary feature. It's exactly what is meant to forge your shared destiny.
And to understand how that friction operates, we have to look at the Mars clash. Mars dictates how we assert ourselves, our ambition, how we fight, and our primal drive. Holly, your Mars is in Sagittarius. This means your drive is fast, passionate, highly adventurous, and constantly shifting its vision. You want to move, expand, and chase the absolute next biggest idea.
Right. You are a futuristic software developer writing 1 million lines of code a minute.
Yes.
And his Mars is in Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. It is methodical. It is slow. It is entirely focused on structural determination and finishing what it starts.
Which is very different from Sagittarius.
Totally. So it's like partnering that chaotic software developer with a meticulous quality assurance tester who refuses to approve the launch until every single bug is fixed. On paper, it sounds incredibly frustrating. You want to launch tomorrow, and he wants to test the code for another 6 months.
It absolutely sounds frustrating in the moment, but look at the mechanics of why that clash is necessary.
Yeah.
The QA tester, his Taurus Mars, ensures that the software you build together actually functions in the real world, so it doesn't just crash on day one.
Oh, that makes sense.
And you, the Sagittarian developer, give him a visionary product to actually test. Without him, your grand visions might lack the grounded structure to ever manifest financially.
Right.
And without you, his methodical building would be structurally sound, but lack a grand, expansive purpose.
And importantly, it isn't all just structural clashing. The astrologer points out that despite this tension between your Mars signs, Holly, your Sagittarius Mars forms a trine to his Venus in Aries.
Which is a beautiful aspect.
Yeah, a trine is a beautifully flowing, frictionless angle.
Right.
So all that operational tension gets funneled directly into raw, hypersexual passion.
Very much so.
It's an adrenaline-focused connection. The fighting fuels the passion, and the passion heals the fighting.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we see exactly why this level of intensity, this specific push and pull, is necessary.
Yeah.
The source examines your composite chart. Again, the chart of the relationship itself. Saturn is currently transiting your composite seventh house. Saturn is the ultimate taskmaster of the zodiac. When it hits the house of partnership, it is not bringing flowers and chocolates.
Definitely not.
It is preparing you for a divine, God-level commitment. It is cementing immense karmic responsibility between you two.
And the composite chart shows that you meet in the 8th house. The 8th house is the sector of deep intimacy, shared resources, and psychological transformation.
It's a heavy house.
Yeah, this isn't a light, breezy romance where you just go on fun vacations. Meeting in the 8th house forces you to merge. It forces you to sit at a table and empty your emotional bank accounts, your traumas, your fears, and say, okay, we have to deal with all of this.
Exactly. The astrologer notes the presence of Chiron, the wounded healer, and Pluto on the moon in your shared chart.
Right.
He specifically states this relationship is not meant for kitty gloves. Because of these placements, you are going to trigger each other mercilessly.
Okay, stop right there. Mercilessly. That is a very heavy, almost frightening word to use in a Synastry report.
Mm-hmm.
How does a relationship survive merciless triggering without just burning out? Where is the safety net in this chart?
Well, the safety net is the shared goal.
Okay.
It is heavy, but the triggering is strictly purposeful. That friction is the exact mechanism required to forge the massive legacy you are destined for.
That legacy again.
Yes, you have Saturn and Jupiter sitting right on your midheaven, the MC, the absolute highest, most public point in the chart. This indicates a very powerful shared legacy of wealth, success, and public impact.
Wow.
You two are meant to build something massive together, but you cannot build a new Earth legacy if you haven't burned away all your individual insecurities first.
So the friction is the forge.
The friction is the forge. If he doesn't trigger your fear of being misunderstood, you never learn to communicate clearly. If you don't trigger his fear of instability, he never learns true resilience.
Wow. The friction is the forge. That makes so much sense. And there's one more major planetary player in this composite chart that dictates how this entire legacy plays out. Uranus is sitting right near that 7th house of partnership.
Right, Uranus.
Uranus, again, is the planet of the strange, the rebellious, the completely unconventional.
Which means trying to force this God-level, karmically intense, telepathic connection into a traditional white picket fence, conventional relationship box that is a guaranteed recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it won't fit.
The astrologer heavily emphasizes that your lifestyle together, how you live, how you work, how you define your partnership, is destined to be highly advanced and incredibly unconventional.
He literally uses the phrase strange as half.
He does.
Your connection is meant to break the mold. You might live in 2 different houses, or run a bizarre experimental business together, or travel the world while raising alpacas. Whatever it is, it won't look like your parents' marriage.
It fundamentally cannot. When you have 2 mirror souls operating with this much astrological voltage, a conventional, socially acceptable relationship container simply cannot hold the energy. It would shatter.
So what does this all mean? Let's distill this massive, staggering cosmic blueprint down directly for you, Holly.
Yeah, let's bring it all together.
It means you aren't just in a relationship. You are locked into a highly advanced, mathematically precise twin flame connection. It's a dynamic that absolutely relies on your wild, third-floor visionary nature being caught, grounded, and socialized by his methodical second-floor nature.
Beautifully said.
You provide the futuristic code, he tests it, and builds the company. You are the CEO of the New Earth. He is the structural architect and PR agent.
And I think it's incredibly vital to note the synchronicity of you seeking out this knowledge in the first place.
Oh, totally.
The astrologer points out that you came to him for this reading at the exact moment the lunar nodes in the sky were unlocking your partner's destined relationship path.
Which is just crazy timing.
That wasn't an accident. That was your innate, claircognizant intuition guiding you to ask for the blueprint just as the foundation was being poured.
You literally felt the cosmic code clicking into place. You felt that connecting flight finally landing, and you knew it was time to read the manual.
Exactly.
Holly, thank you for letting us unpack this with you. It is an incredibly potent, beautiful cosmic map, and it's a total privilege to look at it.
It truly is a masterclass in how individual mechanics merge to create a third, highly powerful entity. which, as we wrap up, leaves me pondering the nature of how we navigate these kinds of heavily destined blueprints. This raises an important question, actually.
Oh, I like where this is going. Lay it on us.
If a relationship's blueprint is this mathematically precise, if it is inherently fated by Uranus to be unconventional and fated by Pluto to be intensely triggering, does leaning into that strangeness actually grant you more free will? By stopping the attempt to force a cosmic telepathic bond into a normal, traditional box, do you actually unlock the ultimate freedom to just be exactly what the universe engineered you to be?
That is a phenomenal thought to end on. Because maybe true serendipity isn't about two random elements bumping into each other by chance at a coffee shop.
Right.
Maybe true serendipity is realizing that the bridge you've been building from your side and the bridge he's been building from his were mathematically engineered to meet perfectly in the middle all along. You just had to be brave enough to walk across it and embrace how strange the view is. Holly, we're wishing you and your partner the absolute best as you build this new Earth together. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.